Morning everyone. For those of you who don't know me or haven't been here over the last couple of years, this is my third year of presenting now. So my name is Adam Clark, metrology specialist at 3D Scanners. Like I said, third time presenting this year. So if I do look nervous, believe me, it isn't because of this event. It's because Sunderland will be playing Coventry later on this evening in the second leg, and somehow we are going into that with a 2-1 lead. So looking forward to that later on. Just echoing what Nick said, obviously thank you for coming today and making the journey over. So I know some of you have travelled, I have heard some northeast accents, so some people have travelled quite far to come down, so thank you very much for making that journey. Today I'm going to be presenting on digital threads for 3D measurement, but just before I do that, I just want to take you through the running order. I know you should have an agenda guide when you came in to kind of see how it runs through, but just to take you through what today is going to look like. We've got 3 presentations first thing this morning, including myself, which will take us to about 10 to 11-ish. We'll then have a coffee break time to go outside and see all of the exhibitors, see what technology's on offer and on display outside, before we then come back in and have 4 presentations this afternoon before we break for lunch, and also again more time to see the exhibitors outside. So this time last year, we actually launched our introduction to JD&T training at this very event this time last year. The uptake on that has been absolutely sensational, more than, or really beyond what we'd expected. I know there will be some people in the room that have actually sat on this JD&T course and really taken some benefit from it. The next virtual course that we are running for anybody that is interested, I know some people have already come to see me this morning, will be the 22nd of May. So if you are interested in being booked on or even can't make that date and want to see a further date down the line, please do come and grab one of us. Maybe it's not physically, but come and grab one of us. You'll see us about in our PolyWorks t-shirts, 3D Scanners t-shirts or jackets about, so please do come and speak to us. When you signed in, you should all have a lanyard with a pass on there with a QR code. For today, you will all have access to PolyWorks Data Loop. Feel free to download the app from the App Store, and you will have a login detail on your QR code to be able to log in, have a look at the workspaces that we've got available and the projects that we've got available, and start interacting with the user interface and the web browser on your phones. Outside as well, we've got a little bit of a game going on where we've got an arm which is set up to be able to measure a physical point on a door. So if you haven't already done so, I think the winning prize is a hamper, including a bottle of wine, I think I say. So if you haven't already done so, when we do break for a coffee, please feel free, just next to the registration desk, to have a wander over and have a go at that little bit of a game. Right, I think that's everything from kind of an introductory side. So my presentation, like I mentioned, will be on the digital thread for 3D measurement. And what I'm going to talk about is a little bit about the traditional measurement approach that most organisations and most manufacturing companies kind of take. Then I'll introduce the digital thread within PolyWorks and how that can be beneficial to your businesses. So if we paint a little bit of a picture of the traditional measurement approach for 3D measurement, where we've got multiple different metrology devices connected into multiple different metrology software. So device A connected to software A, device B connected to software B, device C connected into software C. Quality controls on metrology teams then conduct the relevant measurements and then export all of that data onto local machines, so into a kind of unified file format, whether that be CSV, PDF, or so on and so forth. The consumers of that 3D measurement data then manually take hold of that filing system and then be able to leverage things such as statistical analysis, taking them files into, let's say, Excel or Power BI, so on and so forth, to be able to visualize that 3D measurement data in graphs, trend charts, monitoring key characteristics, and so on and so forth. Launching alerts when features are trending out of tolerance. And that file-based system is, or was, the most common approach within manufacturing organisations. Now, although functional, it really falls down when data changes essentially. So if we paint a couple of different ideas where, for example, We have a project where some measurements haven't been computed because, or for whatever reason, let's say the scan data has been missing and the features haven't been extracted. We need to be able to jump it back into that project, adjust the defined parameters and re-export that file. So we've then got duplications and copies of that file system, therefore eradicating a single source of truth, and we therefore have a lack of data integrity. So how can we do better? We can do better with a digital thread for 3D measurement, and we need three things to be able to deploy a digital thread within your businesses. First and foremost, we need a universal metrology software platform, one software solution to be able to connect to all of your 3D technology. We also need data management on a central server so that all key stakeholders can work from a consistent single source of truth and be stored on a central server. We then finally need what's known as digital interconnections to be able to have that feedback loop and digitally connect and remove and mitigate the need for that file-based exchange system. So if we look at PolyWorks digital thread, again, we can start with that universal metrology software platform. One metrology software to be able to connect to all of your 3D measurement technology in PolyWorks Inspector. But even more importantly, or potentially even more importantly than the ability to connect to all of the multiple brands of hardware, is the ability to store all 3D measurement data in a unified single file format, rather than exporting from neutral files and potentially having multiple and duplications of copies where we lack data integrity. We then need a central server for data management, and we can do that through PolyWorks Data Loop. Managed data on a central server is the quantum leap within the digital thread. Quality control teams no longer need to specifically share files with other departments, whether that be engineering, production, design. That data can be accessed instantly anywhere. Then the final step, and what sets PolyWorks apart from its competing solutions, is the digital thread that connects your organization's teams to their digital data. And we do that through application programming interfaces or an API. So the ability to then take that data and digitally connect to other enterprise solutions where other departments may utilize other software tools, so for example, Excel or Power BI for a reporting solution. So here are some of the benefits of the digital enterprise. First and foremost, we can problem solve quicker because we have instant access to that data. So other teams, not just the metrology team, can then jump back into those inspection projects and then use data-driven approach to drive down and investigate non-conformances or any other data interrogation. If a project is then being changed, rather than having to repeat and re-export filing systems, with the digital thread, it guarantees a single source of truth, which guarantees data integrity. And then finally, all measurement teams involved in producing and consuming the 3D data have instant access once it's been uploaded to the central server in PolyWorks Data Loop. And as we become more of a flexible working environment, so more and more people working from home, for example, we can access that information not only on machines, but also from web browsers, apps, and so on and so forth. So it really is instant access anywhere. So first and foremost, we need that standardization of the 3D measurement workflow. So if we've got a little animation here where we've got software A, software B, software C, all connecting into different 3D measurement technology, now replaced by one universal metrology software platform in PolyWorks Inspector. But not only does it give us benefit from a usability and a training aspect of one interface for people to be able to interact with, what it also does is standardize that unified file format to be able to connect to other enterprise solutions. 2, data management on a central server, achieved by managing 3D measurement data on a central server, is that quantum leap, as I'd mentioned. Data is no longer trapped on local machines and doesn't need to be explicitly shared with colleagues. It also alleviates some of the tasks of your quality or metrology team in managing naming conventions, having complex files and foldering systems, because the data and the files and folders will be managed automatically within that central server. Moreover, they no longer need to browse for, no longer need to kind of manually search for files, as we can use a search engine to be able to look for kind of keywords, part name, part number, so on and so forth. And then finally, it's concurrent measurement. We could have one individual, so let's say operator A, creating a measurement template within an inspection project, operator B measuring piece number 1, and operator C measuring piece number 2, all at the same time, so concurrent measurement. Then from consumers of 3D measurement data, to complete that digital thread, it's then extending beyond just PolyWorks. It's how PolyWorks can digitally connect to other enterprise solutions. We can see information instance or instant access anywhere, as I already mentioned, through web and mobile interfaces. Like I said earlier on, if you download that data loop from the App Store, you will see some of our projects that we've already got uploaded on there today. We could also share hyperlinks. I'll wait for that phone. Thank you. We could also share hyperlinks. We can post questions on them hyperlinks so people can be able to jump into them inspection projects immediately upon uploading to the data server. It also has a benefit to our IT teams because we can then manage user permissions. We can give people various different access depending on their, let's say, role or function. It can also improve network performance. So if you see me speak here 2 years ago when I was working at my previous organisation, one of the issues we had at that organisation was managing network performance. Connecting through a VPN whilst on Wi-Fi with gigabytes and gigabytes of data, simply opening up a workspace in a project could take 20 to 30 minutes because it's having to download all of that information and data at once. Whereas with Data Loop, improved network performance comes from only downloading the necessary information to be able to conduct your task without taking all of the information from that central server, which is improving that network performance. And then finally, backups can be done on a regular basis to be able to preserve your company's precious 3D measurement data. Finally, we need them digital interconnections. So without this third example here, we don't really have that digital thread. It's how we can grow our reach beyond PolyWorks as an enterprise solution. How can we digitally interconnect to other softwares which other departments might use as their primary tool? So let's say Power BI, CAD packages, PLMs, quality management systems, so on and so forth. How can we digitally connect to them other enterprise solutions? So if we utilize digital connectors, we utilize what's known as an application programming interface or an API. So if we look at this example here, we've got software B contacting software A, requesting a subset of data. The data is then exchanged through a digital data stream or a transient file and can then be stored within software B. But if we think, well, actually, that process isn't too dissimilar from that manual file-based system, manually exporting a file, retrieving that file from software B, the digital thread comes from a link which is stored between those two softwares. So if we go back into software A and make any adjustments to any parameters, what that will do is automatically transfer and translate through into software B because we have digital connections between the other enterprise solutions. So the digital thread is much more than simply a file-based exchange system. So we've presented on the digital thread within, or the roadmap to become a digital enterprise. We need that universal metrology software platform, a central server for managing our data, and then finally, digital interconnections. Thank you very much.